Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the January 19th Town Board Committee of the Whole meeting. Please rise for a pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Ann Berger, Third Ward.
Michael Sapone, Fourth Ward.
Stefan Krakauer, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershin, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the Town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's meeting. We'll be doing the Committee of the Whole first, and prior to our committee assignment discussions, we have three presentations tonight. Number one is Schatz redevelopment. Number two is All Space 231 to 245 North Grand Avenue. And three is discussion on 81 to 89 Inwood Avenue. I'd like to invite the team from Schatz redevelopment up to the podium.
Good evening, Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Sean Kearney from Kearney Realty Development Group. I'm joined with my father, Ken Kearney, on Zoom, and Justin Lee of Kearney Realty Development Group. We're also here tonight with our partners from Rupco, Kevin O'Connor, Lauren Norton, and Kristen Wilson. We're here tonight to discuss the potential redevelopment of the former Schatz factory. So I'd like to just give a brief overview of Kearney Realty Development Group, a brief overview of Rupco and some of our past experience, go over the existing conditions at Schatz, and then go through our concept plan for the redevelopment. Yep. So Kearney Group was founded in 1996. We're a family-owned and operated business. We develop, we do all of our own construction, and we do all of our own management. We have over 1,400 units throughout the Hudson Valley. We've successfully developed over 400 million, and we have another 400 million under development. We're located in Westchester County, but we've done a lot of our business throughout the years in Dutchess County. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've specialized in downtown revitalization projects and mixed income projects. Most of these are historic rehabs or in historic districts, so we've unfortunately gained a lot of expertise in dealing with historic factories. One project that's right down the road in the city of Poughkeepsie is Queen City Lofts. This was a highly successful mixed income, mixed use and artist housing development right on Main Street. This was on a contaminated site, a former brownfield. We've successfully remediated the brownfield, and with the commercial spaces alone, there was an additional $2 million from just 3 small private business owners on a block of Main Street that hadn't seen private investment in decades. And Lofts on Main is down in Peekskill. It's a sister project to Queen City Lofts. Similar concept. It was a contaminated city-owned brownfield. We successfully remediated it. It's a mixed income, mixed use artist housing development, 75 loft-style apartments with retail along Main Street. This Queen City Lofts won Project of the Year, and Lofts on Main won a Westchester Municipal Planning Federation Award. Weston Lofts is in the city of Beacon, although it wasn't contaminated. It was a city-owned site right next to City Hall. Another very successful mixed-income development. This includes affordable artist lofts, middle-income units, and market-rate units. Totals 95 apartments. Transit-orientated development within walking distance of the train, of Main Street. Another highly successful project. I'd like to ask Rupco just to give a brief overview of their organization and some of their past experience.
Thanks, Sean. Good evening. Kevin O'Connor, CEO of RUPCO. So we are celebrating our 40th anniversary as a not-for-profit organization led by a board of directors. We are headquartered in Kingston, New York, but we're working throughout the Hudson River Valley. Our mission is to create homes, support people, and improve communities, and our vision is for strong, vibrant, and inclusive communities with a home and opportunity for everyone. Some of the recent projects we've been involved with, this is the Lace Mill in the city of Kingston, also a New York State Project of the Year award winner that we repurposed a factory that sat vacant for 3 decades in Kingston and repurposed it as a housing preference for artists. And really proud of this accomplishment. This is Energy Square, also in the city of Kingston. Again, a winner of several awards. This is a mixed-use, mixed-income rental project. We have the Center for Creative Education and Midtown Arts District Draw on the first floor, 57 apartments. This is one of the first projects in the state of New York that, as an affordable housing project, achieved net zero for living. So with a geothermal well system and solar on the roof and over the car parking, tenants pay rent, and their utility costs are included in their rent, and so they're receiving heat, air conditioning, lighting, cooking, all within their rent. And again, a award-winning project. Sorry, I keep tapping now. This is a Landmark Place, also in the city of Kingston. This is supportive housing for seniors and also affordable housing. This is the restoration of the former Alms House. This is built in 1872, and alongside of it, new construction and a total of 66 apartments for seniors. We've done quite a bit of work in the city of Newburgh. 2 phases of housing, mostly historic restoration, but we also have purchased the former United Methodist Church on Liberty Street, which we're redoing as a community hub currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So I don't want to spend too much time on the existing conditions. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the factory, but just as a brief overview, this is some of the exterior conditions in the current site plan. Some of the interior conditions. So the address is 70 Fairview Avenue. It's just over 17.7 acres. Property's mainly abandoned. There's still existing contamination, extensive, ranges from heavy metals to petroleum and oil to PCBs both in and outside the building. EPA currently has a lien of over $2.4 million on the site. DEC has a lien of over $4.3 million, and Dutchess County has a lien of over $12.6 million. Obviously, a extensive health and safety risk to the surrounding community, and a beautiful project. That's why we're interested. But this is our redevelopment plan. So our plan is to use a majority of the North Factory and South Factory to keep the factory, rehabilitate them, utilize historic tax credits, as well as coupling it with some small-scale new construction along Fairview Avenue, smaller density, more townhome-style residences to maintain the residential streetscape on Fairview. But we'll be demolishing a lot of the ancillary factory buildings that have kind of cropped up in between them over time. And to give an overview, our plan would be for mixed-use, mixed-income artist housing development, very similar to our concepts at Queen City Lofts, Lofts on Main, and West End Lofts. This will be historic rehab. It'll be a brownfield remediation. We'll be utilizing brownfield tax credits and historic tax credits, state and federal. The total remediation cost is $20 million, and the total development cost is in excess of $150 million. This is the most complicated and risky development that we've ever done. The contamination is extremely extensive, both outside of the buildings, but primarily inside the buildings, and complicated on how we remove that and still make residences inside. So one of the main focal points of our redevelopment will be this center plaza courtyard area. We're going to recreate the historic rail line spur that once ran between the North and South Factory. We're going to be connecting it to the Dutchess County Urban Trail, and this will be a main commercial focal point. And the point and purpose of this is to make it a regional destination. Similar to what we did at Queen City Lofts with the Brewery of Zeus, we spent a lot of time and effort on that space, making it unique. They have an individual elevator that goes up to a rooftop terrace. People will drive 45 minutes for that experience. We want to make this an experience. But we've been able to devise this model, and right now we're utilizing historic tax credits, brownfield tax credits. The development cost is about 150, and we still have about $10 million of a gap to figure out. But that's something that we think we can achieve. But it's an extremely complicated project, more so than any other project that we've done, where there's not a lot of areas to sway one way or another. For instance, if the North Factory has to be demolished, it would risk the feasibility of this whole development. So we've spent over the last 3 years developing this pro forma and this concept so far. We've spent a lot of time, a lot of resources with 3 different environmental consultants to try to wrap our arms around the contamination, and we feel pretty confident at this point that this is achievable and a feasible plan. So I want to thank you for listening to us tonight and hearing our presentation, and I don't know if we should discuss next steps now, or if the board has any questions.
Sean, first, open up to any questions any of the board members have about this project that aren't familiar with it. Anybody have anything at this time?
Nothing.
No? Bill? Mike?
One thing, I don't know if you said it, but the footprint of this, from my conversations with you guys, is the existing factory is going to be reused, so the footprint's the same, with the exception of what you're building up on Fairview. So I just want to make certain everybody knew the factory itself was, going to stay. Now, I know you said you were going to take buildings around it down if necessary, but the main building, I think you were going to make that into one apartments, somewhat about 200 units. Is that correct, if I remember correctly?
Yes, Councilman. We're breaking out essentially to the North Factory and the South Factory, and they're somewhat connected now by ancillary buildings, but we're going to be housing majority of the residential and the commercial space in those 2 buildings.
I just want to be clear that everybody knows you're really saving the same footprint, so it's not like you're really doing a lot of major new construction.
The footprint will be reduced, and the new construction along Fairview is more for the streetscape than
Right,
it would
well,
be for
because
density.
we had asked for that,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
So this property is currently owned by who?
It's privately owned.
By who?
Not sure the entity or the individual.
Schutzman, I think.
Okay, that's, all right,
Yeah.
so that's where, all right, so it's that property
Yeah.
that has been a problem
Yeah.
throughout the
And
years.
as Sean has stated, Stefan, all the liens that are against that property, they're trying to get indemnified so the county can actually accept it. So that if the county takes it now, if I'm correct, Sean, they would be responsible if they, with all those loans from or liens from the other agencies. That's one of the hurdles.
Yeah, that was my question, that, like the multiple liens, the $150 million price tag incorporates those liens being resolved, and so the county has a lien for more than what the property's worth, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Right.
As stands today, yes.
So the county would be, at some point, relinquishing that lien. It hasn't been taken from the current owner?
No, because the county doesn't want to take it until they can get indemnified from the DEC and
So,
Okay, but the owner of the property really isn't part of the mix
No.
at this point?
No.
Okay.
correct.
All right.
So the county's in the middle of a foreclosure process.
Right.
For
So
the
it's
tax
just a matter
liens.
of where they're going to direct it, when they direct it at this point. And is this, are you guys the project, or is this one of multiple options the county's looking at?
As of right now, the county is pursuing the foreclosure if we pursue this development.
Okay.
If we don't pursue this development, the county does not want to be in the ownership title of this site. So they're pursuing this action for this
But there's
development.
not other projects
No.
proposed for this site any longer that are in the mix,
No.
correct? Okay. What's the commercial mix what's the commercial square footage versus the residential? I think, I don't know if you mentioned the residential numbers, but
So the residential unit count that we've been able to hit kind of a, I don't want to say a balance, but
250?
close to a balance is 250 units. And the commercial would not be driving this development, so it could be closer to 15,000 square feet, mainly around the courtyard.
and what type of commercial, like a restaurant?
It would be heavily restaurant complemented with retail.
Okay. So, because I mean, the destination to me has more than just housing, so, I mean, I don't know what I'm fine with more commercial. I think, as it fits, I think it is a project that you guys are gonna have to be creative with either way to make it fit. I think it looks good. I was on the board, I'm back off the board, I'm now on the board again. That property has been just on the radar for years. That's why I say my concern was where I know that property. I would love to see this happen. Honestly, I'd just love to see it cleaned up, but there's no way to clean it up without developing it. So I think things like this, we should work as a town to try to encourage and figure out how to get you to the point where you're not just getting a shovel in the ground, you're cutting a ribbon, because these are good things. We get rid of a real big problem, and then we could turn it into something where people would show up and go, wow, this is kind of amazing that this is here, and why can't our town do it? So I'm glad to see you guys here. I like what you presented. Whatever I can do or we can do to help, I think we should be all in. So
And the new rail trail will be right behind there. The new trail that they're coming in from the Hudson Heritage that goes down to Marist and ties in, this is supposed to be the walkable trail. We'll go through the whole back of that and basically ties in and goes right alongside St. Francis Hospital, and right, Fulton Avenue, right up to the psych center. So it's actually a benefit, as you said, to that. It's within walking distance as it is to the rail trail.
yeah.
But the other trail coming down, going underneath, which is actually supposed to be a walkable trail to get people back and forth, lighted 24/7, is right on the back end of that property.
Yeah, and the Queen City Lofts is a very nice development, and it's funny because the property, West End, I think in Beacon, I've driven by that, and the first time I saw it, I wondered who did it, and was impressed by it. So it's kind of nice to see.
Thank you.
So looking at those pictures, I believe that you will build what you say you will build. So that's another plus. So
And on the other note, they currently have a property in the fourth ward now, Pendle Commons, which has been there 10 or 12 years, which just shows their maintenance is, kept up to be what it is. And I've toured the project in Peekskill by accident one day. I ran into Sean's father down there and toured that, and that was very nicely done too. They took a storefront, they did it, and they didn't overbuild or outbuild, and they actually shared parking with the city on the other side of the street.
As I say, that stuff makes a difference because a lot of people, I've seen a million presentations, but I've actually seen your properties and that they're beautiful. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and also if you have an artist component to this too, it makes a huge difference because that attracts people in.
It does.
Because sometimes they have galleries displaying it, they have festivals, so it also helps to really draw people and draw visitors into the area to see what's going on. So that's a very vital component, and I heard your father give a talk about that. So,
How long do you think something like that would take? Just curious.
Well, I think if we were to start right now, and the county,
Like just pretend you're starting tomorrow.
I'd say we could be in the ground within 2 years, and construction would be maybe 18 to 20 months.
And can you guys send me a PDF of that so that I can put it up,
Of course.
the presentation?
Anybody, anything else?
One quick question. if I understood what you said right, the county is gonna foreclose on the property, and you're gonna buy it from the county.
Yes.
So I understand that, right? And that picture there, is that actually the rail trail? Or does
It'll-
it connect to the rail trail?
That will connect to the rail trail. So there used to be a rail spur that would deliver directly to the factory. We'll just be recreating it with pavers, more visual, and then right past this view towards the trees would be where the urban trail is.
The place is a dump right now, that's beautiful. Good luck. I am
Thank you.
concerned about how you're gonna afford to get this done. I was at the meetings when we originally discussed this. That's a big nut that's gonna go on there. You're able to take that on?
It's a very big nut. We've successfully completed 4 brownfield remediations.
Okay.
We've completed large projects. This isn't the largest that we're working on. We're liquid, and Rubco is well financed as well. We'll have a few million into this in soft costs before we break ground, and we're ready and prepared for them.
Well, I think it's a great idea.
Anybody, anything else? No? Thanks, Sean and Justin, thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you, Supervisor.
And
Thank you,
we'll
members
reach
of
out
the
to
board.
Mike- Mike in the morning about the next steps.
Okay.
Thanks,
great.
Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Next, All Space 231, 245 North Grand.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor. This is Kelly Leibolt.
Good evening.
We're here, would you like me to start?
Go ahead, we're ready.
Okay. Let me just see if I can share my screen real quick with you. We're here tonight to discuss the all space storage project. And I think many of you know where this is. It's predominantly addressed off of Salt Point Turnpike, but this property actually extends all the way over to Grand Avenue. As you can see on this, can everyone see my screen? Okay, I apologize. I didn't know that this could have been in person and I would have come tonight, but the next meeting I will certainly come to the meeting. But this property extends all the way over to Grand Avenue. So Salt Point Turnpike is here. Grand Avenue is on the other side of it. And this is the existing development at the site right now.
Could you make the picture
this-
bigger? There, good.
Sorry?
Bigger,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. This is just, I kind of keep going with blow-ups. The first one was so that you could see the, predominantly you could see the surrounding area. And then as I'm blowing in or blowing this up so you can see the area with better clarity. And so this is even blown up further so you can get a sense of where we're talking about. This is the all-space storage facility now, the 30 built. If you recall, there was an approval here, which I'll show you later. So there's already buildings on this location. This area is the storage facility. It used to be Grand Rental. And then this is the vacant land in the back. This is the area that we're proposing to discuss with you this evening, and you can see the start of the construction of the other buildings adjacent to this. This is just another perspective so that you can see, looking in plan view, what the property looks like. This is the plan that was completed in 2018. So this was the original storage units that were developed, again, based on Salt Point Turnpike. And this is a better perspective that gives you the area that was developed in 2021. And then this is the area that we're discussing as part of the current proposal. Again, this just shows the buildings that were recently completed, and this is the as-built. So those other 2 buildings are completed. We're here tonight to request to rezone that parcel, that small area in the back that I had spoken about, from RM, which is multifamily, to IL, which is the same zoning as the other portion of all space storage. Predominantly, the residential multifamily would allow apartments, the light industrial would allow us to continue to expand the storage facility onto this last remaining parcel on this property. The plan that I have in front of you really is just focusing on that corner of the property where we're asking to rezone. This is the approved plan set, just so you can get a sense of where you are relative to the property. This line and this line are the same. What we're proposing to do is add 8 additional buildings to the project area. The same buildings as you see from Salt Point Turnpike, so the smaller 1-story, not temperature-controlled units. So 8 additional buildings. We're cognizant of the fact that this property is borders on Grand Avenue, and we've worked to try to provide some landscaping. Of course, this can all be further elaborated, but we just wanted to show you that we are cognizant of the neighbors in this area. And then, of course, this side of the property is the rail trail. So we provided some additional landscaping here. This large area in the middle of the property is the existing wetland. We did look at alternative layouts, so we did for some time think about possibly doing residential on this property, and we just wanted to share with you these. They're very old. We looked at these probably a year ago to try to see if it was, something that we wanted to pursue, given the fact that the property is zoned for apartments. This would really result in an encroachment onto Grand Avenue. So we would have an entrance drive there. The project area would allow 86 units. That's the maximum that would be permitted. Water, sewer, and then some impacts to the wetlands. So this is just one of the alternatives. This was another one that we looked at. And then there was a third that we looked at that was kind of a longer building. So that's really the presentation. I'm happy to go through it in greater detail. I know you have a long agenda tonight, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you have and give you any additional information that you may need.
Does anybody have any questions at this time?
Kelly, is currently zoned for residential, multifamily kind of stuff?
Yes, that's correct.
And you want to change it to storage?
Correct.
I thought we had enough storage in the town. Is this, what's the reason behind this? Is it more money if it's storage?
Well, I think notwithstanding the money, because it's usually something that we don't really try to focus on at planning board level, but this property has constraints, so it is adjacent to the residential properties on the other side of Grand. It is adjacent to the rail trail, and I think developing this for apartments would be pretty impactful to the balance of the property. We're in the storage business, and so although we do have apartments, as you know, over by Norris College, we think that the best use of this property is for storage. If we had developed the whole property for residential, it may be more efficient for us to develop the balance of it as residential, but at this time, we think its best use is for storage. It's a very de minimis use. There isn't a lot of traffic, there's no water, there's no sewer, fairly light visitors in and out of the site, and so we'd like to just continue and balance out the rest of this property.
So property's 15.74 acres, is that right?
The total is, let me just go back, because I have so many properties, I can't remember what is what. This portion is 6.23, but the other portion of it, I can
Okay.
get that total acreage for
All right,
you.
So it's 6.23. How big is a wetland?
Acreage-wise, I don't know the acres. That drawing that I showed you is the wetland delineation. Let me just go back to it.
All right, so the 86 units, is that factoring in the wetland? That's not factoring in the wetland?
No, it's not. Nope,
Okay.
nope, it would result in wetland impact. Absolutely.
Right. And the wetland, is it big enough where it requires a buffer?
No,
No?
it is not.
Okay. So the buildings that you're showing on there could be built the way you show it, even with the wetland, the
Yes.
town wetland ordinance?
Yes,
Not the residential. The residential would be significantly lower.
correct.
Okay. All right. And you said 1, 2, 3, 4. You said 8 buildings. Why am I counting 7?
Correct.
Oh, the 8
there's one
ones
right
to the
here.
left. Okay.
There's one right here.
All right. So that's on the property that's already zoned for it, correct?
Correct, yes.
And you're looking for light industrial or heavy light
Yes.
industrial?
That is the rest of the property is light industrial.
Okay. I mean, I'm guessing that there's other light industrial uses that could be problematic there, but that's not your intention at all at this point, correct?
Correct, correct. you know, correct.
Okay.
Kelly, how much more do you have to do on the project that you were doing prior to this one? Is that one built out yet or no?
It's finished. Yeah, those two buildings are finished, and we're actually, have applied for the CO from the town.
And on these new buildings, what is the distance between those and the houses on North Grand in the back and the ones up on the hill? Are they set
This is a good perspective so that you can see the houses. So these are the houses that would be, you know, the most affected, these three right here. These houses, the development is predominantly on the, there's a huge ridge here.
Yep.
So the two buildings that we built are on, let me just see, I'm sorry to like switch back and forth, but I just wanted to show you, they're on the bottom of the hill. Right, so they're down on the bottom, and the same goes for the new development. So on the new development, we're proposing them away from the neighbors. Just get that right here so you can see. So these, it flattens out on the top up here, so these would be closer to the residential district, and this one would be, or the residential houses, and this one would be pretty far away.
Yeah, I was out there the other day, and there's a house on, I think it's North Grand, that's right in the corner of the property. I was just trying to figure out how far away that house was.
You're probably thinking of this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have shown the dimensions on there so that you can see it. It's quite a distance, but of course that's relative when you're the person living next to it.
Yeah, and that one's lower to the ground. The other ones down the other end are up more on a ridge. I remember when we were here last time, even from the backyard, you really couldn't see that much of them, but that one house
Right.
when I was out there seems close.
We actually changed the roof color, if you remember. I mean, the neighbors had asked for us to modify the roof color, and we did, because that's really what they see, is the roof, not the actual site.
Are they all allowed 24-hour operation, or do they lock down after?
They are.
They are?
Yeah, it's 24-hour, but it's gated, so you have to have a code. We don't see a lot of traffic at night. You know, people do visit it, but you really don't see a lot of traffic at night. But they are 24-hour.
All right.
Yeah, and they're also lit?
They are. Sorry,
Yeah.
my computer just I had to plug in there, but
But I recall that
Yep,
you were
and-
using special lighting that shines down so it's not glaring into the neighbor's property.
correct. Thank you for bringing that up. We did have issue at the last time that we were before this planning board, and there were some neighbors that had some objections to lights that were over on these buildings, even though they were lower topographically. They had concerns, so we've redone all the lights, and all the lights now have shields, so they only shine straight down, not out or to the side. And we've actually retrofitted all of our self-storage facilities with these lights. So every one of our facilities now has the shields on the side, so the lights just shine down.
And as you're doing this project, I mean, I've had multiple calls that people have small businesses are looking for a place to either put their vehicles or larger door frames, get some bigger stuff in there. You know, small business use those as their storage area. Have you planned anything besides that, or is it mostly residential storage?
It's mostly residential. You do get small business owners. Like there was a time where there was a lot of the medical salespeople did a lot of storage in these units, but they're predominantly residential. The facility over by Dutchess Community College has some commercial type tenants, and I have a client that's actually putting something like that up in Hyde Park, that they're doing more commercial based. But for anyone who has storage units, and you may or you may not, there's like zero availability. It's like apartments. There's like negative inventory. And every building around here, you know, even the ones on Route 9, you would think they're full. They're just at capacity. And I had to find a storage unit, and I couldn't even get one with my own bosses. So I ended up having to buy a unit or rent a unit down at the one on Route 9 over by the U-Haul. And there's like none left. So it's crazy that there's such a demand for these things right now.
There's enough storage in our town.
Anybody, anything else?
Well, just Jay and Ann hit on what I was going to speak on. So the only other issues I would see would be screening if necessary, and you guys have always been willing to put screening up, so I'm not worried about that.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm fine with moving
Yep.
forward. So, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Thanks. You want to go on to the next one then, Kelly? If nobody
Yes,
has any other
okay.
questions?
Okay, you want me to just go right to the next application?
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay, let me just open that up, I'm sorry. Somehow everything closed when I closed that. So I'm representing the next applicant, which is for 8189 Inwood Avenue. And, sorry, I can't seem to find my application. I apologize. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So we're representing the client that has purchased 8189 Inwood Avenue, and this is in Councilman Siffon's ward, so I know he's very familiar with the site. This is an unusual parcel. I actually didn't even know it existed until the client came to me with it. It's a very long rectangular parcel. This is the area right here that you see on the drawing. And it borders the rail trail. So this is the rail trail. This is, I'll call it broadly the Home Depot Plaza. And then this is the new, I'll broadly call it the ShopRite Plaza. Next to it is the old psychiatric center landfill and the state building right next to that. And then the balance of it, obviously on the side, is single-family residential units and single-family residential houses and properties. The property is 33.6 acres and it's zoned R2, which is 2-acre zoning. And we're seeking to have it rezoned for multifamily, RM, residential multifamily. This is just a survey of the property. Topographically, it really sits up high where it's closer to Inwood Avenue, and then it drops way down about halfway through over here when you get over to the rail trail. What the client is proposing is they originally wanted to do apartments, and so they wanted to do multifamily apartments like your standard sort of boxy apartments. And we, since they had already bought the property, they needed to come up with a concept that they thought was going to be blend in well with the community, but at the same time keep ownership of these individual units versus rentals. Instead of doing apartments, doing ownership via condos. And so we worked with them with a lot of different concepts, and we proposed to them this concept of the new urbanism design, which I know probably many of you are aware of, but I'll just kind of walk you through it real quick. This project has 34 owned residences, and they're clustered in a new urbanism type of layout. And so there's 22 bedroom residences, so it would be like a duplex, and then there's 14 4-bedroom residences. So this is what the 4-bedroom would look like, and this is what the 2-bedroom would look like. When you put this onto properties, it's essentially, it clusters the development, and obviously it preserves a tremendous amount of open space, when you do something like this. So on 33 acres, we would be developing 17, the balance would be remain open space. This would be a gated community, and then at the moment, we're proposing amenities, which include a community building, a dog park, and a community garden in the back, and certainly there's the other major park on the property. So this is a blow-up of what this would look like. This is Inwood Avenue, and then on the other side, obviously, would be the rail trail at the opposite end. To come in, there's a gated area here, you have on-street parking, and then you have your unit. And this is a very block-style type of project, and that's really the concept of the new urbanism design. And so you've seen this over at Eastdale, it's a very similar concept. And what it is really getting away from single-family properties, large lawns, and really more of a sprawl, and getting it back to, community-type living. This is just a quote, but I thought it was great. It really encourages human interaction, which we all need to get back to. There's porches, and properties are close, their structures are close to the road. There are sidewalks, safer streets, walking, and it just creates a really nice energy for the community. I lived on Mitchell Avenue in the city of Poughkeepsie, and that was a very similar concept. You have the alleyways in the back of the properties that, this is right here. So all of the garages they combine and they access off of these alleyways. So you eliminate the cars, the garages, and so forth, garbage cans, and then you have a very nice walkable community. These are just some other examples that I just wanted you to see, like true pictures that are being built. In addition to Eastdale, this is a Joe Kirchhoff property up in Red Hook that's being built right now. And I was fortunate enough to get some aerial photos so you could see the concept behind it. This is a great shot. Similar to what we want to do is just houses really up on the sidewalk, porches, and create a walkable community. He has a fantastic park here. This is just another extreme example. So what this would require is we're seeking to convert the 2-acre zoning to the multifamily zoning, and this is just an overview. I did provide a cover letter to you that really has a lot of these details in here, so I know I'm going quick tonight, but there's this information is also housed in the material that I gave you, and I can give you a copy of this PowerPoint if you'd like. As far as, properties that would be effective, we just did this 500-foot radius so you could get a sense of, who the immediate properties would be that would be affected. We did provide some really rudimentary elevations and concepts just so you could see what this is. Really, it's a 2-story house, that people can own. These were the floor plans inside, and this would be the 4-bedroom unit and the 4-stacked unit. The footprint. And so we were hoping tonight, I did talk to Councilman Safone earlier, and hoping tonight that we can really look at this as a workshop session to kind of gauge your feeling about this layout and this creation of this type of community in this area. We were trying to blend in, instead of building single-family houses, some of the key that I think was a desire by the town for this was to make sure that they were ownership and not rentals. And we wanted to try to create that opportunity for people, but get away from the apartment style dwelling and give them the feeling of ownership of a house and actually feeling like they're owning a structure. And so we felt like this was a really good mix between the single family residences that you have now and some of the other apartment complexes that you have in the area. So again, trying to look at this as a workshop session and see if you can give me any feedback on your feelings on this type of design, this type of community, and then our proposal.
I have some feelings I'd like to express.
Go ahead, you can start.
So, it's a long, thin piece of property, and there's just
It
a
is.
lot jammed in there. And new urbanism, it maybe works some places, but it's being jammed right in next to a single-family residential neighborhood. Just doesn't seem to fit at all. I mean, I keep thinking the 10 pounds of something in a 5-pound bag.
Right to the left of this project, Stefan, you actually have Inwood Lake, so.
But
not really I agree with you, there are too many units.
the lay of the land.
Could be a better layout.
Right. The layout is, it's just jammed in. I mean, it's jammed in. Honestly, the idea that new urbanism makes it so that you're sort of meet your neighbors, you'd have to meet your neighbors because you can't. It looks so tight that you couldn't get through there without meeting your neighbors constantly. I mean, I'm fine with figuring out a way to have the people be able to use that piece of property, but it's just way too much. And I mean, even the picture, it was hard to figure out what those were because there's so much jammed into that thin sliver. And I think the property to the north of it, it's a landfill, but that's just construction debris, right? It's like a clean landfill. You mentioned that was.
No, that's a big go.
Okay.
The ball field that's there, we were gonna get that a number of years ago for additional soccer field, but that is clean now.
Okay, all right, but so both the property your client owned plus the property north of it is clean, right?
Yes, and there are
Okay.
2 state residential units there now.
Right. So as a workshop, I just think it's way too much. It's jammed in. I guess residential is probably the only thing you can, I mean, it's probably a logical thing to do with it based on what's around there, but, I mean, it almost looks, the idea that you didn't know it was there, I actually knew it was there. I just never thought that piece would ever get built on because, unless it got added to the other piece, because it's just a thin strip of land.
Yeah, it's definitely viable. My question to you, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, is, are you, you know, is the board comfortable with this sort of new urbanism approach, or, and I'm hoping that's the case because we spent a lot of time on trying to create this concept, but perhaps create some more pocket parks and some open space and kind of spread these units out a little bit versus a complete redo to a single family type of apartment style dwelling.
I mean, here's the thing, if new urbanism is jammed in like housing, I would say no. But like townhouses or condos that has like, I mean, I guess I think residential would be okay, but I mean, the layout, if new urbanism is that you have as much building as you can possibly put on there, then that does make a lot of sense to me in that location.
So your issue more is with the density versus the actual layout. Okay,
It
that's fair enough.
It
Yep.
looks extremely dense.
Dense, okay,
extremely.
fair enough. Then we can look at that. Okay.
But with this design, the current design you're showing there, would the remainder of the property be deemed forever open?
And right now, that's what we're talking about. I need to talk to the client and get a commitment from them on whether or not they're, you know, willing to agree to that. But that's a fair question to ask, and I will get you an answer on that. That is, my intention was to try to cluster the development so we could do that. But I will get you an answer.
Is the back end of that, I thought you said the back end of that property had a big drop off, so is it?
It does. You can develop this, but it drops down to the rail trail. Yep, this is really flat, stuff on right now, and then this is kind of the peak.
Right, so the part that you show that has the development is the part that would be easily
It's the
developed.
most easily developed.
Right, the rest of it would be complicated, so it's not, you couldn't shift that to the left, correct?
You could shift it, it just gets it gets more complicated, just
Right.
like you said, there's more constraints on the.
No, I'm not
development.
suggesting to shift it, I'm just saying the left side, I got
Yes.
the impression was not really land that you could do any sort of cluster housing or multifamily type housing.
You'd have to do sprawl,
Right.
you know, you'd have to sprawl it out there.
No, I see what Stefan says about so close together. I mean, the other, like a safety issue you look at is a fire. If there is a fire on one of those things, they're so close to each other. I bet you most likely they're not going to be sprinklered or anything, right? Because it wouldn't be required. So I look at that as well.
I think the resonating theme is that less density, so we can come back, you know, certainly listen to any other comments, but we can come back and show you some modifications to this, but trying to keep that same block system where you have the alleyways and you have the on-street parking.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, so I can just ask a specific question. That empty piece of property, is that going to be forever empty?
The balance of this
Yeah.
property? Yes, Ann had asked that question, and it's my intention that that's the case, but I need to get the client's definitive answer, so I don't want to speak for
The
them
next time you
now.
come, have the client's position on that.
No,
Because
I will.
If this is
Yes.
successful, I agree with Stefan, it's too dense, but they'll come right down the hill. You'll be here in front of us 2 years from now with that plan flipped over to the left.
So, yeah, you've asked, I'll get the answer for you.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome.
No.
No. Yeah, Kelly, along the line of the density,
Yes.
I wouldn't think it'd be a discussion because urbanism and the density of putting it up like that, I think that would be a self-answered question that would be part of the project. I like the layout of the homes with the garages in the back entrances. It sort of gives you that Wilbur Boulevard effect.
Yes.
But I have to agree with everybody else here. I discussed it with a little bit Mike this morning, that it's definitely, you can call it whatever you want. To me, it's too much in a small piece of property. If you can find a way to sprawl it out and move it and change it around a little bit. To me, I look at it, it looks like a factory-built military base from looking at it in this concept. I think it needs
Okay.
a lot of help as far as it goes. I mean, I agree with Mike, home ownership in a condo would probably be something that would definitely go there, but I think it needs help. I think there's also wetlands on that property, which may be in that area where part of the building was supposed to be. So I think it needs help. The concept with the porches and the garages in the back and the free fronts, I think, is definitely something that looks nice. It says, you do Wilbur, and I saw other pictures of the project that Joe Kirchhoff did up north, and it's sort of along that same approach. It's a nice thought process, but the plan itself doesn't impress me as the way it looks on paper.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate those comments. Okay, we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll make some changes to this. We heard you, so we'll answer your questions, and then we'll get something back to you for your next meeting in February.
All right, thank you. Anybody got anything?
Okay, thank you, everyone.
No, Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.
That brings us to our regular committee, the whole meeting. Finance,
Nothing to report.
technology.
I have a report. Okay. Currently, we haven't been able to get access to our data for how many hits we're going to have on the website. We're going to work on that for next month. But on our emails, our Gov delivery, we added 246 new subscribers in December, and that brings us up to a total of 27,750 subscribers to our emails. And we'd like to encourage everyone to go on the town's website, on the first page, down at the bottom. Am I correct with that? Yeah, you can join the email. Lots of valuable information comes out of this, like when we were handing out COVID test kits. So it's really important to sign up for our Gov delivery email list. And in the future, this committee is going to be working on looking into new phone systems because our current system is 20 years old. So we'll be looking into updating our phone system. And also we're continuing to look for new security features to protect our network from cyber and other technology threats.
And along the line of what you said with the Gov delivery, I hate to say it, but COVID is what pushed it. When they called town hall wanting to know about test kits, we refer them to that, and a lot of people have been very happy with other things that they've gotten off of
Absolutely.
it and different things that they can sign up for. So I hate to say if the pandemic did anything, it got 20-some thousand people to sign up to know when the kits were coming out.
That's all right.
Yep. Mr. Renahan,
Well, one.
recreation. I'm going down the list, sorry.
Okay, that's right. Recreation, at our meeting tonight, it was brought up in regards to camp counselors are going to be needed, of course, for the summer camps again this year. So it's posted on the website for anybody that's interested in becoming a camp counselor. There's going to be a country line dancing event on Friday, February 25th, 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. And there's also going to be, their still scheduling is being finalized for some spring events. The dates and events will be communicated at later meetings. So, we went over, success for 2021 and what we're looking forward to do with 2022 to try to do the best for our programs and our parks.
Did she discuss the hiring of seasonal summer help, not for the camps, for the
For the CIPs.
Yeah,
No, for regular
park.
Regular-
No,
regular maintenance? No?
no.
All right, I'll discuss it with tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Fire advisory, Jeff.
Fire advisory, basically we brought Ann aboard here and she went to the meeting as well. We discussed a lot of the property maintenance issues still, that the 3 fire districts have with the building department. We hashed some of those things out. And a lot of it that was discussed that meeting was that unfortunate fire that happened in Bronx there where those 17 people perished or lost their lives there, including those 8 children, and what can really the town do to prevent something like that. And basically, Bruce and the building department was talking about the maintenance programs or inspections that are required for these multiple family dwellings, and that's one of the things. If that they're saying that the cause was the fire doors not working properly, the self-closing doors, weren't working properly. Those things are inspected. And another public, education announcement is that if their doors that they know don't work properly, don't self-close and self-latch, that they should be looked at. That would have made hopefully a big difference. That's all.
Infrastructure,
Nothing to report.
personnel.
Nothing to report.
Just on personnel, we will say there are some job openings on the website. So if anybody is interested, some are tested jobs that you have to go through the proper channels to get, but some of them are not, and there'll be more coming shortly. And building consolidation, Steph on our bill.
You want me to,
If you want to give a little,
yeah. We are looking at that property now, and we are in a contract to get it at the intersection of Spackenkill Road and Boardman Road. Boardman Road?
Well, you're right.
The old Poughkeepsie Day School building. That site will serve us very well. Town Hall could be in the Kenyon House, and the police and the courts can be in the, what used to be the main school building. The site has solar panels on it. It has electric car charging stations. It's in very good shape. It was built by IBM back in IBM's heyday to be the place where they brought in all their clients from all over the world. It's well done. It's well built. It's going to our engineer now for a study on it, and I think our experience with this particular engineer was back when we were talking about working with Arlington to get a headquarters, and he impressed me with his detail and his experience. So I'm anxious to see what he does with that. We are just starting a process. This is 2, 3, maybe even more than years down the road. But for our police officers who are over in the dungeon over there on top of the old dump, they can see something coming, and that helps with their morale. The court, on the other part of the dump, we're going to solve a lot of problems. It's basically almost in the dead center of the town. So the response times in any direction, the only one that I see a problem with would be to the north end, especially with the new development. But the police department is well capable of handling that. As it goes forward, we'll keep reporting to you so that you have a very good idea of exactly what we're doing. This building will be sold. The current old police building will be sold. We've had inquiries on the police building multiple times. The income from the sale of those two properties should just about cover the purchase of this new piece of property. But we have to spend more money to get the buildings into the position that they can serve the purpose for which. It's a school, they're really nice, but it doesn't have the flow that a police station needs, doesn't have the security a police station needs. For the courts, the same thing. So we're going through the engineering part. As something comes up, I'll let you know. It's a multi-faceted, moving target. But I'm telling you that I think 2 to 3 years from now, we should start seeing something happen. And as we're talking about that, just to note to the other committees, if we're going into a new building for Town Hall, any thought of telephone lines, computer lines, networks has to be taken in consideration. Same thing for the police building. This is a gorgeous building. We take good care of it. I don't want to see us spending money on this that we can use in the new facility. And you have my email. It's on the webpage. If you have any questions for me, just send me an email. And I promise you, and Jay be right next to me, that we will keep you up to date as this goes. We're going to do the best we can. And it is a huge step for our town. It's a huge step for our town. And I understand that, and I'll make sure it has my full attention.
The only thing I'd like to add to that is, we are just in our due diligence process for this. There is no commitment to anything. It is meant to be a police court facility. It also is on almost 30 acres of property. It has multiple fields on it. It has a 300-seat auditorium theater on the property. It also has a rather new gymnasium on the property, besides the other features that Mr. Carlos had mentioned. But going through the due diligence process, we are looking at this as a full town facility, and we want to decide what can be put there, and if there's something that can't be put there, this is the process. There's been no commitment made at all to what will physically go there. If we find out that something is not going to fit there, we'll work with that. We are also looking our best to save the gym and save the theater and save as much as the fields and the other spots that we can use for other things in the town. This should be beneficial to the town for not just a town police court facility and town hall. This is also supposed to upgrade the town to bring the town the next step up. We do not have any indoor recreation facilities at this time. So that is something we're looking to save and to work on, also trying to keep the theater there, which is a 300-seat theater, which would also be a benefit to the town. So on top of the police court and town hall facility, we are looking to make the town better and take our recreation to the next level, which has been one of the first phone calls and interest that people have brought up. And this is our due diligence period. There's no commitment to anything. We are looking to see where we can put things and see how they fit. And we just started the process. And as Bill said, we will every month during this process bring the date, what we have. And we've been working with our Mitchell architects doing the design for this, and they did our study originally. So we've been meeting on a regular basis. We will keep you informed monthly as this process goes forward. Does anybody have anything else for committee of the whole? All right. At this point, I'd like to go to the town board meeting. Number 1 on the agenda is accept the resignation of police officer Nicholas Craig. Number 2, accept the police donation from Barbara and Dennis Powers. 3, authorize the donation of ballistic helmets to the town of Marlborough. 4, authorize a grant from the John T. Sloper Community Fund for updates to AEDs for the police department. Authorize supervisor sign an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Marlborough. Accept the retirement of Carol Barone. Accept the retirement of Mary Jackson. Resignation of Timothy Davison. Resignation of Anthony Mastrogiovanni. Set a date for a public hearing on historic landmarks in Albany Post Road, milestone markers 77, 80, and 83. Authorize the supervisor to sign sewer tenancy agreement for 7 Gertrude Place. Consent Vassar College as a lead agency. For the planning department, appoint historian Kenna David Dengel to the Historic Preservation Commission. Appoint Phyllis Capone to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Appoint Deza Ote to Climate Smart Task Force. Authorize a tax search settlement, AKA Coles. Adopt the amended non-union salary schedule. Authorize the purchase of Vactor sewer cleaning truck for the highway department, and authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with CR Realty for the police court facility. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on any item on the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have any comment on any item on the agenda? Nope. Yeah, nobody on there, Tim? Nope. If not, a motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Renningham.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does accept with regret the resignation of Nicholas Craig, police officer of the town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, effective 12:30 p.m. on January 12th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Good luck, Officer Craig.
Resolution number 2, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept, with appreciation, a donation of $50 from Dennis and Barbara Powers, and be it further resolved that said donation, which is made to our police department in appreciation of its responsiveness, will be used to offset police department needs. So moved.
Second.
Then a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Powers, for the donation to the police department.
For resolution number 3, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the donation from the town of Poughkeepsie Patrolmen's Department to the town of Marlborough Police Department, 13 surplus ballistic helmets. The transfer is done without any warranty or claim relating to the item's serviceability. So moved.
Second. We have a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized the supervisor or his designee to sign all papers necessary and proper to accept a grant from the John T. Sloper Community Fund in the amount of $2,446 for the police department to purchase replacement pads and electrical leads for the automated external defibrillators, AEDs. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas by resolution 721, number 8 of 2021, the town of Poughkeepsie entered into an agreement with Tilcon, New York for the use of property owned by Tilcon at Cedar Cliff Quarry located on Quarry Road in the town of Marlborough, New York, 12542, tax ID 513600-108.4-4-9, for purposes of using the site as a shooting range for police training, which is attached hereto and made a part hereof. Whereas the town board reviewed the requirements of the State Environmental Quality Review Act and completed the necessary environmental review by required secret before approving the access agreement. Whereas by Resolution 721, Number 8, the town board found that the act of approving the access agreement would not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts and issued a negative declaration. Whereas by Resolution 721, Number 8, the town board approved the access agreement and authorized, directed, and empowered the town supervisor to sign the access agreement. Whereas Poughkeepsie, Tilcon, and the town of Marlborough collectively desire to enter into an agreement permitting Marlborough to access a designated portion of the site for police training on such terms and conditions as permitted by Poughkeepsie, provided such terms are consistent with the access agreement, which is attached hereto and made a part hereof. Whereas pursuant to the provisions of New York State General Municipal Law, Section 199-0, Poughkeepsie and Marlborough desire to enter into an intermunicipal agreement to provide for the joint services of police training, which is attached hereto and made a part hereof. Whereas Poughkeepsie and Marlborough desire to establish such terms and conditions pertaining to the Marlborough access and use of the designated portion of the site pursuant to the terms of the intermunicipal agreement. Whereas the Marlborough agreement and the intermunicipal agreement are both subject to the terms and conditions of access agreement that the town board has already approved and determined would not have any significant adverse environmental impacts under SECRA. Whereas the Marlborough agreement must be approved by resolution of the town board, which authorizes, directs, and empowers the town supervisor to execute the Marlborough agreement on behalf of the town board. And whereas the intermunicipal agreement must be approved by resolution of the town board, which authorizes, directs, and empowers the town supervisor to execute the intermunicipal agreement on behalf of the town board. Whereas both the Marlborough agreement and the intermunicipal agreement have been approved by the Marlborough Town Board and have been signed by the Marlborough Town Supervisor. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board hereby determines that the act of approving the Marlborough agreement is a Type 2 action under SECRA, which would not have a significant effect upon the environment, noting its previous negative declaration pertaining to the access agreement issued after the access agreement SECRA review, and be it further resolved that now, therefore, be it resolved. Be it further resolved, now therefore be it resolved? Sure. The town board hereby determines that the act of approving the intermunicipal agreement is a Type 2 action under SECRA, which would not have a significant effect upon the environment, noting its previous negative declaration pertaining to the access agreement issued after the access agreement SECRA review, and be it further resolved, the town board approves the Marlborough agreement and authorizes, directs, and empowers the town supervisor to sign the Marlborough agreement and any attendant documents related thereto. Be it further resolved that the town board approves the intermunicipal agreement and authorizes, directs, and empowers the town supervisor to sign the intermunicipal agreement and any attendant documents related thereto. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Seems like a lot of words
What
to
does that
sort of
mean?
get.
We did that 3 minutes, did you?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Carol Barone, typist with the town of Poughkeepsie Planning Department, effective January 18th, 2022. So
Second.
moved.
Second.
Oh, excuse me,
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yeah, gonna really miss Carol. She was amazing. She knew where everything was.
Excellent, very, 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 very nice.
She will be sorely missed. She definitely served the town very well. She's happy to move south and enjoy the rest of her life. And she was excited, ecstatic, and I also feel nervous about the thought that she was leaving. She was just been an asset and always a positive vibe in town hall.
She had quite a little shindig there.
Yep. And which shows how much she was liked. Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 7-0. Be it resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept with regret to retire Mary Jackson, Deputy Zoning Administrator with the town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Department, effective December 31st, 2021. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions in this one?
Just, she'll also be missed. I always found her very helpful, really easy to work with.
Yes, Mary came back when we needed somebody to fill in. She became a zoning administrator in another town, retired, came back and helped us out. Now she's retiring again, so, yeah. So wish her the best of luck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of town of Poughkeepsie does accept with regret the resignation of Timothy Davison, sewer maintenance mechanic with the town of Poughkeepsie Sewer Department, effective January 23rd, 2022. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution number 9, I apologize in advance for mispronouncing the last name of this individual.
Mastro
You got
Giovanni.
this.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does accept, with regret, the resignation of Anthony Mastro Giovanni,
Yes.
water maintenance mechanic with the town of Poughkeepsie Sewer Department, effective January 21st, 2022. So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie has received applications from town historian John Pina and the Historic Preservation Commission for the locations known as Albany Post Road, milestone number 77, Albany Post Road, milestone number 80 at Poughkeepsie Rural Cemetery, and Albany Post Road, milestone number 83 at Marist College, to designate said locations as historic landmarks. Now therefore, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize and direct the town clerk to publish notice of a public hearing to be held on the second day of February 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does direct and authorize the town clerk to forward notice by certified mail return receipt requested to the owner or owners of the parcel on which the proposed landmark site or historic district is situated, and by regular mail to the owners of all property located within 300 feet of the exterior boundary lines on the subject parcel. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any questions?
I just want to make sure that this is really clear. It's only the actual mile marker themselves, this small little stone structure. It's not the whole lot that's being designated,
No.
just the mile markers.
Yep.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute a sewer tenancy agreement in substantial form and action between Brian and Anna Fisher and the town of Poughkeepsie on behalf of the First Ward Sewer District and the Tri-Municipal Sewer District to provide sewer service to property located at 7 Gertrude Place, Wappingers Falls, New York, identified as bridge number 134-689-6158-01-010912-0000. And be it further resolved that said document shall include all standard town terms and conditions and subject exceptions and authorization by the town board, town of Poughkeepsie, is subject to the approval of all final documents by the town attorney, town engineer, and the sewer department of the town of Poughkeepsie. To be it further resolved that the town board finds that because the development of the project has been the subject of a full secret review by the town planning board, no additional secret review is required. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion again. Just on page 5, it says the current charge is $1.50 per 100 cubic feet. It's actually $2.50.
Change that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as secret lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork in its entirety can be found at the town clerk's office for the project known as Vassar College Faculty Apartments, location of which can be found on the planning department memo attached here to, dated December 20th, 2021. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby reappoint David Dangle to the Historic Preservation Commission through April 19th, 2027. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Be it resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie is hereby reappoint Phyllis Capone to the town of Poughkeepsie zoning board of appeals for a 7-year term, which is from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2028. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Beza Oktay to a 2-year term on the town of Poughkeepsie Climate Smart Task Force, which appointment shall expire on January 19th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 16, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of a tax certiorari proceeding instituted by Kin Inc., FKA Coles Inc., for the property located at 1800 South Road, Poughkeepsie. Lot number 134-689, 6158, 02, 522-795, 0000 for the 2020 and 2021 tax assessment rolls as shown on the attached consent judgment. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, town assessor Jennifer Mund and Kyle Barnett of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP, to sign such papers as are necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any questions on that one?
So it's currently assessed at $8,148,000 and it's going to go down to $7,250,000?
Yep. And there's no refund on our end.
And what calls?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 6-1.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby rescind resolution number 2 of 2022 due to minor errors on the then adopted non-union salary schedule. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve and adopt the attached corrected non-union salary schedule for the year 2022. So moved.
Okay, motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the Town of Poughkeepsie Highway Department wishes to purchase a new Vector sewer cleaner, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the Highway Superintendent or Supervisor to purchase a new Vector sewer cleaner from Joe Johnson Equipment for a price of $439,500 plus an extended warranty, Sourcewell contract number 101221-VTR, pursuant to the attached recommendation of the Superintendent of Highways, the cost of which is covered by CHIPS funds, and be it further resolved, the contract is exempt from the town's purchasing policy because it is a state bid contract, and it is an equipment purchase, which is a type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any questions? We will, this is gonna take quite a while to get in. We will look to see if there's any grant money in the same time to see if we can get a possible grant for this. The last one we got for the sewer department, about 80% of it was covered through grant money. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the town board wishes to again contract with CR Properties Group LLC for a realty brokerage agreement related to 15 and 19 Tucker Drive for a base term of 1 year from the date of execution by both parties. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute a realty brokerage contract with CR Properties Group LLC on the terms and conditions annexed. So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to suspend the rules for any comment at all from anybody.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to make any comment on any topic at all? Come on up, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that I am Phyllis Capone, and I wanted to thank you all for reappointing me to zoning. And as I sat there, I was also very excited about moving the town hall complex over to Boardman Road. I think it would be a real gem for the town of Poughkeepsie if we could make that work, because it really is a beautiful property. So let's hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Is there anybody else? If not, motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Reinhold?
Don't have anything yet.
Scribbled here.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following: discussions regarding pending or current litigation, Malabar Garage, to discuss matters which are exempt under open meeting law, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege. So moved.
Second.
The motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Town Board is in executive session, 8:20 PM. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.